This is a little short video that I wanted to throw together and been meaning to do it for a while. Um, Something that we've talked about a lot and felt that it was important to get out. We've mentioned this on a couple of forums and met with mixed response here or there, but basically what it is to talk about the Second Amendment itself, the actual Second Amendment to the United States Constitution. We can keep this real short and to the point. There's some things that I've been seeing the past few months, past few weeks, and just in the past few days that we've all been talking about that we really felt needed to be discussed and addressed. And it's a short point. Folks, we're facing some very, very uncertain times right now, very, very uncertain future, economically, politically, internationally, sociologically, just across the spectrum. But there's one thing that people have got to get through their heads. Folks, the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution is in no way, shape, or form related to or has anything to do with the words hobby or sporting. There is nothing about the Second Amendment that is a hobby. There is nothing about the Second Amendment that is sporting. It's not a sport. It's not a game. It's not for fun. It's none of those things. The Second Amendment is about firearm ownership by the average populace, the average citizen, so that he can protect himself first and foremost from a tyrannical government, but also to protect his life and property and that of others from foreign invaders, domestic invaders, i.e. criminals, etc. But it's all about self-protection. It's about fighting. There is nothing about the idea of fighting, be it an armed invader in my house or a tyrannical government or anything else, that in any way could be construed as fun. And that's what a hobby is. A hobby is something you do for fun and relaxation. This is not fun and relaxation. It's not a sport. A sport is something that you do that's a game. Football is a sport. Hockey is a sport. Baseball is a sport. Okay? You could even say surfing is a sport. Boating is a sport. Those are all sports. Again, they're things you do for fun. They have no serious ramifications to it. The Second Amendment is not. Killing another human being is not a sport. These are two words that we feel like has done more damage to firearms ownership in the United States than just about any other words you can come up with. Because when we start talking about this as a hobby and a sport and recreational and all this other kind of nonsense, you start desensitizing people to it. Hobbies and sports can be taken away. You don't have a right to play football. You don't have a right to own a boat and go boating. Okay? You have a right to own a firearm and protect yourself from anybody. Now that does not mean that we don't get enjoyment out of shooting. It doesn't mean we don't get enjoyment out of training. It doesn't mean that there's not enjoyment to be had from competitions. Okay? All of those are things that are definitely there. But you've got to not lose sight of what the real intent and purpose is. We've got to keep that in the back of our heads. We've got to stay focused on what that real meaning is. Every time I see somebody post or hear somebody say something in relation to the shooting sports or, oh, you know, this is our hobby or whatever, bull crap. It's not a hobby and it's not a sport. Okay, and I'm sounding repetitive at this point, but it's for a reason. We've got to focus on this. This isn't a game. It's for real. It's serious. So when you look at a gun and you look at what other people are saying about a particular gun or whatever, oh, well, you know, just for the casual recreational shooter or sports shooter, it'll be fine. That should not even be in your mind first and foremost. First and foremost, it should be, how is this weapon going to allow me to protect myself and fight with it? Secondarily, you can use it as another tool, such as to get food with, which is what, I guess if you argued back in the 1700s, at that point in time, modern firearms were used for. First and foremost, it was for protection. Secondarily, it was for hunting. That was it. The Second Amendment wrote there were no competitions to shoot in. People didn't have hobbies of collecting guns. Okay? Keep all that in mind of what the original context was, what it's for. This is not for a game. It's a serious tool for a serious job. We need to stay focused on that, okay? Serious tool for a serious job. Can we have a lot of enjoyment out of this? By all means, absolutely. I get a lot of satisfaction out of being able to go to the range and have a hard day of training and know that, you know what, I'm better equipped to run this in the manner that it was meant to be and designed to be run in, that I'm better equipped and better trained to protect myself, protect my loved ones, protect my friends, protect innocent people if need be, if I'm so morally inclined, which I'll tell you right now, I by all means am. Lawyers be damned. For all my lawyer friends out there. But we've got to stay focused on this. We've got to keep pushing for this, and we've got to keep that at the front of what we're doing. Keep that at the front of your thoughts, your training. Work to try to get those two words out of your vocabulary. Again, we're talking about the original intent of the Second Amendment here. It's not a game, folks. Don't mean to sound so serious about it, but I do mean to sound serious about it because it is a serious subject and a serious concept, and it's why we put as much hard work and time into making the gear that we do to go with these, is because it's serious, and we want to put out the best that we can for the intended use that this is for. So I hope that'll give you something to think about if you're not already thinking about it, and keep that in mind, and we'll talk to you next time.